Well, for the first year, I just tried to keep moving forward and just to keep life as normal as possible for our boys. And so I really didn't take the time for myself because I was just trying to be there for them. So I took them to counseling, but I didn't do anything for myself. And so I don't regret that at this point in time, but probably I would advise people to take care of yourself because that did lead me down to a place where I didn't think I could go on. And that's when I attended that really a life-changing retreat. But I guess the thing that I kept doing was just keeping things normal, praying that God would help us because there were a lot of things that we needed help on, and just keeping my trust in Him. But one of the things I learned is I remember at the very lowest point in my life, I remember saying, Lord, what am I going to do? And in my spirit, I heard Him say, are you going to trust me in this? And I remember thinking, I don't know what else to do but to trust you. And so from that time, He put people in my life, scriptures in my path, and songs in my heart that encouraged me in a really dark time.
What would you say would be the main takeaway from this book, Grief Unwrapped, before we move on to Ever Present?
The main takeaway would be that to look for that joy, to not let life pass by without seeing the good that's going on around you as well, and seeing that there are still people that love you, and that you have an awesome God who loves you and is right beside you, which is what the second book really is about, God being beside us.
Well, let's shift to the book Ever Present, real stories of God's presence through trials and triumphs. So share with me the inspiration for this book.
Okay, so after Grief Unwrapped, I wanted to write something that shared other people's stories. I wanted to be able to incorporate. So it's a book of my stories, biblical stories, as well as there's 12 other people in the book and their stories. And so I wanted people to be able to see how God is right there beside us, and that even though we don't always feel it, we can know it. He is right there beside us. And so there's a story about a woman who sensed God telling her she was about to be robbed before she did. It gave her a sense of calm in the event. There's a story about a person's wedding dress catching on fire, and that story's about God protecting, her during that time, and it's a funny and interesting story. And so there are things like they're everyday occurrences, and there's a story about a time of tragedy and a time of depression and loneliness, and a time of friendship and community, and so in God's provision. So all those are just different stories compiled to hopefully encourage people to remind them that God is right beside us.
Yeah, and sometimes, of course, we know that God does the miraculous. He's certainly capable. Yeah. He expresses that. But as you were sharing, the day by day, just being able to sense the presence of God walking with us and recognizing those God moments, if you will, that we face day by day. And if we're a born-again believer, a child of God, if we have a relationship with Jesus Christ, I think we can kind of have an anticipation of that, can't we?
Yes. The last story in the book is about being in the presence of God in our once we leave this earth, and the person's experience seeing her father leave this life and move on to the next. And it's so encouraging when you think about what is in store for us when that time comes.